it's going to be a slow day. That 218k is going to take 6+ hours. But importantly, it goes over 5 mountains.
Well, this stage here, stage 20, is quite unique in the fact that it's the first time at the Giro that the fans have chosen the stage. Last year, RCS asked the fans of the Giro to choose their favourite parts, their favourite climbs, and this is the stage that they came up with. The infamous Mortirolo, the steep, really steep climb, which comes as the penultimate one before we finish up here on the Passo di Stelvio. Well, the time limit, which is a part of every stage of the Giro, is going to be playing a part today. And what they do is they take a percentage of the winner's time on the day, so they'll calculate that towards the end. It's likely to be upward of 15% of the winner's time under the rules, because this is one of the hardest stages of this year's race. So the guys at the back, the non-sprinters, the bigger guys that you don't often see at the front that often form part of this gruppetto, they'll be helping each other through, trying to get inside that time limit. So they need to finish today's stage within the time limit in order to get to the start tomorrow.
Whichever rider finishes or crosses the finishing line first today is going to go down in the history books as a legend of our sport. It's the Queen stage of this year's Giro. The Stelvio Pass has a massive amount of history. There's the memorial of Fausto Coppi at the top. So it's prestigious stage to win. By this point in the stage, the riders will have covered over 200 kilometres and a previous 4 categorised climbs, including the fearsome Mortirolo, which steeps up to 22% towards the top. Well, coming into the 3rd week of the Grand Tour, be a lot of fatigue in the peloton. Average of 100 miles, 160 k's a day, only a couple of rest days. You can see some physiological changes taking place. Your resting heart rate can get higher as you get a bit more tired. And at the other end, your maximum heart rate can actually decrease slightly. So when you're tired, it's slightly harder to get those high heart rates that you might see in the first week. But interestingly, it doesn't necessarily correlate with the power. Even though that heart rate might be decreased at the very high end, sometimes the rider finds over the course of the 3 weeks their power can actually increase. So it's just one of the ways, or one of the pointers, which makes these elite professional cyclists so good at what they do. At last year's 2011 Giro d'Italia, only 77% completed the entire 3 weeks of the course, which of course means 23% went home early. Some of it's through crashes, through illness. Some people just get too tired. Some people are eliminated through the time gaps, or the time limit, should I say. But of course, there's quite a lot of riders, over 40 riders going home early. So fueling at the start, so that you've still got enough energy up the end here, is going to be very, very important. We've seen a few cases in the past where riders have got it wrong, and this is a 22k climb. If you get it wrong at the start of today, and you haven't got enough energy at the end here, you could potentially be losing 10, 15 minutes and your whole race could be over on the last road stage of the Giro. That's the last thing that you want to happen. We had Cadel Evans in one of his first ever Giros, just after he stopped mountain biking. He was actually leading the race in the pink jersey, the Maglia Rosa. And he notoriously blew up one day, lost a massive bunch of time and any hopes of the overall victory. And similarly, Jan Ullrich, back in the '98 Tour de France, there was a similar stage where he just completely lost all his energy. Pantani took advantage and went on to win the Tour. Well, as with a few of the other stages of the Giro, the altitude is going to play a big factor today, more than any other stage in fact, because I'm already up here at 2,000 metres just over, and there's still 750 metres to get to the top of this climb. So already here, significantly less oxygen than you'd have at sea level, and that's only going to accentuate itself once you get another 700 metres up. So again, the riders who are used to coping with that altitude, they're going to really benefit from today's stage. In terms of the gearing, on a climb like this up the Stelvio Pass, the riders could probably use some fairly standard gears. So the normal 39.2 front ring, and at the back 25, 23, some cases on the 21 or even lower for some of the riders up here. The complicated thing today is that they've gone over the Morterola at this point. That's a very, very steep climb, averaging around about 12%, ramping up to 22%. At the moment, we're around about 7%, 8% on this climb, and I'm climbing up here in 39.2 on the front and 23 on the back. There's going to be a few different emotions going through the peloton on a day like today. The guys at the front, they're going to be fully concentrated right the way up to the top. The stage wins up for grabs. There's still a few bits probably to play for on the GC, either for the pink jersey for the minor placings. But behind, the guys that have already done their job for the stage, the sprinters, the time trialists that might be waiting for tomorrow's stage, they're all just going to be getting through it, taking it slightly easier than the front guys, and they'll be very, very pleased to reach the finish line today because effectively they're going to finish the Giro then. But winning something like the Giro d'Italia, it's a huge achievement for anyone. It doesn't matter how big of a rider you are, how famous you are, how long you've been doing it. There's only 3 Grand Tours a year, and this is one of them. So your name goes down in the history books, and you only need to win it once to become a legend of the sport. One Giro d'Italia means everything in cycling.